Because we're a great nation, our challenges seem complex. It will always be this way. But as long as
There we go.
All right. Evening, everybody.
Howdy, howdy.
The Gipper was trying to drop some knowledge on everyone, put things in perspective. Let's give it a few minutes, get everybody in here. They're dropping in. Make sure to hit that like button. What's up, Jay, Mama D? Our illustrious leader is being held up at work. He's trying to do this remotely, so please bear with him. He's got us up and running so we can do it live. So, props.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So, hey, as an aside, speaking of the Gipper,
All right.
have you noticed how unintelligible and painful it is to listen to current presidents speak, as opposed to listening to Reagan? Pick one. Anyone before Reagan, maybe not Carter, or the one that fell up the stairs, kind of like Pedo Joe there.
We had another one that fell up the stairs?
Yeah, they fell down the stairs a lot. Oh gosh,
Which president was that?
it was the one after Nixon.
Ford?
Yeah, Ford.
Oh, Gerald Ford. Okay.
Ford was stumbling over everything.
He was only in office a couple of years, right?
He only needed to be, yeah.
Okay. He just filled a gap. That's all he did.
Exactly.
Okay. You got it. All right. Well, even though he stumbled over everything, at least he could speak.
Yeah, exactly. It was he wasn't 90 years old and dementia riddled, and even the ones that were not as eloquent as past presidents.
You think maybe I think it's two things. One, their mental capacity hadn't gone to shit like our current one, and they have better writers.
Probably better writers, but also better mastery of the English language.
Well, he had mastery of the English language. It's just when all his brain cells took a left turn,
Like ice cream. Yeah.
I was being chased by a toaster, and I was on my bicycle, and there was carrots in the road, and there was a refrigerator jumped out and said, "Boo!" I mean, you don't know what the hell's going to come out of his mouth.
Exactly.
And it's going to be like listening to what was that bad damn grunge band? Oh hell! Come on, the lead singer killed himself. Yes, Nirvana.
Yeah.
I'm a potato. You're a potato. You know that stupid team spirit. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Listening to that idiot talk reminds me of that song.
Oh yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh no, it's not. The 90s were horrible for music, I think.
I'm cool with grunge, but dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it reminds me of. So, but yeah, you make a good point. I've never, even Obama's Maximus, at least he could speak.
He can speak.
Writers.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody talks about him, being, he's so eloquent.
No, he's not.
You're talking about
somebody wrote that shit for him.
Purified, drinking water, No, that's not eloquent. That's slow. You can understand him. He may be, talking out his rear, but you can understand him.
Yeah, you take a teleprompter away from him, and he'd get confused too, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah,
he couldn't talk good on the fly.
No.
So they propped up Obama's Maximus way before he got elected. They were already talking about putting that sack of shit in the White House back when he got elected into the Senate or the Congress or whatever the hell he got elected into, and he was never there.
Yeah, exactly. He would either vote, what was it, present or, just didn't cast a vote.
Yep. That's it. Just a breather. That's all he was. Or
yeah.
a tip from a boar hog. All right. Well, that being said, let's dive right into all the good shit tonight. You see our title, Reparations, but no deportations. I mean, it kind of says it all. I don't know if any of you have been following the stuff in California. I'm sure we've got folks that are. But I read an article where they're talking about $5 million in a lump sum being awarded to people of color. So here's how this will bounce, okay? This is just my 2 cents. Please pipe in if you disagree or agree. I don't, I got a thick skin. I can take it. If you give reparations to all these people, okay, inside of 6 months, they will have blown through all of it, or either been shot, robbed, stabbed, hoodwinked, raped, pillaged, whatever you want to use, assaulted, carjacked. Whoever didn't get reparations will attack them for the reparations as soon as they find out about it. It's kind of like when you win the lottery and all these relatives you haven't seen in 40 years start coming out of the woodwork like cockroaches. It's going to be the same way with them and their families and friends. And what will happen is, you'll give them $5 million. And after Uncle Joe gets his cut, they'll be left with what? 3.5? So after they buy their McMansion and their Escalade with spinners and the little flashing lights and all that shit, and the Gucci cell phones and all that shit, they will bankrupt themselves. Because it's a proven fact that when you give large sums of money to people, I mean, look at people win the lottery. Okay. The best thing you can do if you come into a large sum of money is go get you a financial planner right then.
Oh yeah, before you even touch it.
Yeah, don't spend it. Don't do anything with it. Go straight to that financial planner. Start planning your shit out right there, because if you don't, you're going to either fuck yourself or get fucked, one or the other. And
so,
yeah.
So I got a question. So, okay. And I think I saw that too. Were they specifically talking about California, like San Francisco, stuff like that again? Or were these people on the national bandwagon?
Are we talking about the reparations?
Yeah.
What I saw was referring to California.
Okay. So California being California, or even nationally, how are they going to? I mean, if you want this to be fair and equitable, which is a term that they like, which is a term that they like to throw out a lot.
That only works. That's a one-way street.
Oh yeah, it's one-way street. So, in all the years that we've had quotas, be it for government service work, for college entrance, how are they gonna again, if you're going to make this fair and equitable, how many people with less melatonin are you going to give $5 million to? None. None is the answer. But that's, that whole reparations deal, the whole thing is a sham.
It is. It's. I got a couple of different takes on it. What's your take? I mean, we agree it's a sham. I get that, but do you have a take on what you think is going on?
Oh,
outside of reparations.
Yeah. So
picture.
my bigger picture is that you have, basically a group of, race baiters that are up there right now, that are still trying to divide. And, it's the whole, I've been poor all my life. I'm I'm downtrodden. I've been, kicked around by Whitey. And now I want my $5 million. Now, I have some concerns about what some of the, I mean, look at BLM. Okay, there's a story that came out. I think it was on that N Network or even Yahoo, talking about they made $85 billion or $1 million, whatever it was. It was a huge amount of money that never went to helping out communities of color. Okay, this went straight into the pockets of the BLM founders. This whole reparations thing, it's a sham, and it's meant to divide.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest thing, is it's meant to divide, and it's basically a big F you to, just, hey, yeah, we're here now, and we got money.
I think it's a couple of things. I'm going to go further down a rabbit hole here, so bear with me. I agree with everything you're saying, but I think this is another knife in the back to the working class Americans, the middle class, because by doing this and creating this disparity, they think that it's a way to kind of eliminate the middle class, in a manner of speaking. And bear with me on my thinking here.
Sure.
The government doesn't like the middle class, because the middle class are the people who actually will get up and vote generally if they're not pissed off. And they're educated enough where they can actually communicate their point of view intelligently. Okay? They're not really concerned with the lower income, except when it comes to voting. That's why they give them all the free shit and make promises, because that's the only reason they get out and vote, is for a handout. 9 times out of 10. Now, you may have an outlier there that actually gives a shit and has an opinion and wants to follow that. But overall, the middle class is a thorn in the side to all the political parties. And they don't like that, because we can't be easily controlled or steered. They want a pliable people. Basically, like we said before, they want a bunch of fucking serfs.
Right.
They're beholden to them and don't dare question what we do. And as long as the middle class functions, they don't have that reign. I mean, think about it. It's the middle class that raises hell about the Second Amendment. It's the middle class that raises hell about, why aren't you following what the Supreme Court says? And it's the middle class that attempts to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
So if you create this racial divide and you get it done, what you're trying, I mean, look, I'm not trying to come across racist here or anything else. Okay. So please don't take it that way. I'm not trying to offend nobody. But if you go and look at the breakdown of socioeconomic groups and the way the country's set up and how it's populated, a great deal of the black communities are poverty stricken. Okay. But that wasn't done by the white man per se. That was set in motion back in the 60s by our own fucking president.
Oh, yeah.
Destroyed the black nuclear family. He wanted them to be dependent on the government and not self-sufficient, to create a voting base. And that's exactly what they did. Now, why that voting base can't see the writing on the wall, I don't know if the shit's been programmed in or they just, I don't get it. I don't get why they can't break the cycle and see shit for how it is.
Right.
Now, am I saying that there's not other factors out there that are fucked up that people overlook? Sure. But that right there has been perpetuated since it was enacted. And they've turned it into a damn business model.
Absolutely.
You know, and now you're trying to make it almost, you're going so far off on the left with reparations and everything else, you're trying to make it almost like a white person is a second-class citizen. And from my perspective, you know, when I see somebody, regardless of what color their skin is, that doesn't really make a real big difference to me one way or the other. It's how they communicate with me when I interact. You know, the interaction I have with that individual. But they're trying to set it up where that whole block of the U.S. population is elevated above everything because they're owed something.
Right.
This is setting things up for some kind of conflict.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And, okay, so yes on all of that. Absolutely yes on all of that. But just think, if you did this nationally, and I just looked this up, okay, this is, so if you, the black population, 40.1 million in America, okay? That's who identify as black alone, not Hispanic or anything else. That's 40.1 million.
Right.
You interject even a fraction of that, but you interject $5 million a pop. That's over $2 trillion. That's like $2.5 trillion. So you're gonna make believe $2.4 trillion because we know they can't print that.
They'll borrow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's borrowed. It's made up. It's fiat currency. So
they'll borrow.
Yeah. Not only does that, again, you know, as we learned from the past two handouts, that devalues our money. It destabilizes our currency. It destabilizes us as a nation, lowers our credit score, or our national credit. It's, you know, the higher ups know this, like you're saying. They know this. Average, you know, Joe Blow on the street who just wants his cash doesn't know and doesn't care. Ukraine will pay us back.
I may have misspelled pesos, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, pesos and pecos. Yeah, that's about right.
Well, you know, where I've got a problem, and I guess this comes from having kids, grandkids, whatever. I don't want to see my children or my grandchildren treated differently because they don't have cornrows or gold tooth or ride around the fucking Escalade. Okay? And while I understand that there are outliers, and there was a time when, you know, you had segregation and everything else, it sucked. It wasn't, you know, you had slavery. It wasn't right. But we weren't the only motherfuckers doing it. Okay? And none of us were doing it.
Yeah, there are no time travelers in this. Yeah.
So you're trying to hold me accountable for something that happened to somebody who may or may not have been fucking related to you, and you think I owe you something. No, I don't. I didn't achieve anything in my life by belittling or stepping on somebody of a different nationality or ethnicity, if I said that right. I got the shit on my own.
Right.
So why do I owe you any fucking thing? Why do my kids or grandkids owe you anything? You make a choice. God brought us in, we were brought into this world, and God gives you the ability of free will for a reason.
Right.
You can choose good or you can choose bad. Everybody's got a damn moral compass and they know what I'm talking about. Some people ignore the damn thing, but everybody's got one. You make bad decisions, that's on you.
Right.
I used to have this conversation, Palmetto, that would make too much sense and I can't spin it. I hear you. I used to have a conversation with somebody I worked with, and they were black, very well educated, and ironically a Republican. But the argument always was, well, what about the people who don't have this or don't have that? And I know it sounds cold, but I would look at them and say, well, it's not my job to worry about what they do have or don't have. It's my job to make sure my family has what it needs.
Right.
This isn't communism. And I said, furthermore, if they're not happy with their lot in life because either they got the shaft on something or they've got a bunch of fucktard relatives, break the cycle.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't look at me like it's my fault and expect me to bail you out, because all you're going to do is you're going to take it, and then anything else that goes sideways, you're going to be blaming me for and expecting somebody else to pay you up and get you. I mean, that's how society is now. There is no free lunch.
No.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You're good. You're good. But yeah, I understand. I don't understand that mentality, but I have heard that mentality in the workplace. Years ago, I worked in a place. You remember watching the videos of Katrina, right?
Yep.
The hurricane. You remember watching people wade down the streets with big screen TVs and all this sort of good stuff. Yeah, and stuff like that. So we got into a conversation. There was a, well-dressed, well-read man of color that I worked with, and he thought that was totally fine to go in, looting and doing whatever, because these people don't have that sort of thing. And if it's sitting there on the shelf and nobody's looking at it, then more power to them. Go get it. And I was like, how do you sleep at night thinking that that's okay? I don't understand the mentality there, man.
But what it is, it's a mentality that's just reinforced generation after generation. It doesn't have, just going back to the argument I used to have with the man I worked with, I'd tell him, I said, look, it'd be great if we all lived in a Walgreens commercial. All right, but we don't.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world, sure, everybody would be taken care of, this, that, and other. We don't live there. And to expect it to be that way is ludicrous.
Exactly.
You can't pull rainbows out your ass. It's not going to work. But yeah, it's insane. So nobody wants to come on here and ugly up the place with us. I'm shocked. I'm
really
a little hurt. I mean,
Bring it on.
I'm gonna have to go find me a latte, a hot pocket, and a safe space when I get off here tonight.
Right?
Bad shit.
Caramel latte, man.
It's got to have some non-fat almond shit in it or something. You know,
This is true.
You know,
Almond squeezins.
yeah, it can't be real. It's got to be some fake shit.
Exactly.
Well, you know, we've covered the reparations thing, and I know here locally for me, they're propping up this whole thing about having this big reparations thing here locally in our city and this other shit. They're trying to get national traction, and again, you're creating the very thing that we were taught not to do for the past 50 years. But you're doing it from the other side of the coin, and it's okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it's okay for you to be bigoted and have an opinion because we're white and owe you something. But we can't have that opinion about somebody of color because that's wrong.
Exactly. That's
So
it's racist one way.
Yeah, I must have missed that book in civics or that chapter or something. I guess I was sleeping. I don't know. Not tuned in apparently.
Yeah.
or maybe this is some of that. What's that shit called? The
CRT?
project? No, whatever project. Well, CRT too.
Oh, yeah. The New Georgia Project. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's got a number. Like a date.
Yeah, 1660 something.
Yeah, some Nimrod came up with it, and it makes it like everything is because of slaves, and
yeah,
we wouldn't have shit. And no, I guarantee you that when Alexander Graham Bell developed the telephone, it wasn't because he had a bunch of slaves and they were running a wire.
Right.
I don't think, you know, when we invented, I mean, just pick another invention.
Oh, yeah. Well,
light bulb.
What kills me is, you know, whenever the whole, we built this country. Oh.
No.
Yes, well, not you, your ancestors, somebody's ancestors had a big part to play in this. But you know what? So did a whole bunch of other races, creeds.
Yeah.
We built this country. We continue to build this country.
There you go. We.
Yeah.
And see, they don't want to hear that because you can't be a race pimp if you got to include other people.
Exactly.
So, you know, again. Now, I saw a sign today on one of my feeds, and I posted it in chat. It was something along the lines of, if so many 20,000 Russians coming across Ukraine's border is an invasion, how is it when you've got millions of illegals coming into the U.S. border, it's not an invasion? It's actually a valid point.
Yeah.
You know, by definition, yeah, that's an invasion.
Right.
And you know, I don't understand. We're worried about reparations for some shit that went down over 100 years ago.
Right.
And again, I'm not trying to sugarcoat or dismiss what happened back then, but it's like Morgan Freeman once said, you want racism to go away, stop fucking talking about it.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. But see, the race whores don't want to do that. They want to, because that's their bread and butter. They got to keep stirring that pot, lighting that fire, pouring gas.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that's how you get rid of racism. You take it out of the equation. But as long as you got people doing this and stoking shit, it ain't going to go away. It's going to get worse. So, but going back to what I was saying, you know, you're talking about reparations with money we don't have that is ludicrous at its base, but you won't spend a fraction of that money to finish the wall.
No, or just to guard the border.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
This is, and it's not a new thing.
No.
This has been going on for decades, and this is also definitely a manufactured crisis too. If you go back and all of well, not all of them, even in the '60s, okay, you had a lot of folks in California, some of the socialist Hispanic leaders in California and in New Mexico that were throwing around the word Reconquista, which is basically, we need to get as many people from Mexico, Central America, South America of Hispanic descent to come back up and repopulate it, and we have the voter base then. And that was back in the 60s. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember it, but I remember hearing about it.
Right. And then in the 70s, the same thing. Not so much in the 80s, but we still had a problem then too. But yeah, instead of, blatantly crossing the border, firing, bullets, we're blatantly crossing the border, carrying drugs, guns, money, to our citizens here, basically drugging up and killing our citizens, while none of the Central American, South American, or Mexican governments will stop it.
Nope, because it makes money.
Yeah, it's a moneymaker.
Yeah, and
that money gets sent back to,
Yep. Now, I'll go a step further than that. Again, this is me jumping down the tinfoil hat, but I challenge anyone to prove me wrong here. The border crisis is a self-made crisis because the politicians don't want it to go away because it's a way to pander for votes. I mean, look at the cities now that illegals can vote.
Oh, yeah.
And they figure this is a constant faucet. They can just turn wide open and get, suck voters in. Just keep, stacking the deck. And I think that, like you said, there's a lot of money exchanging hands. I think the U.S. government, to a degree, has always been complicit. Because if they wanted to stop the drugs, if they wanted to stop the illegal access, border crossings, the immigration and whatnot, they could, but they don't choose to.
Right. Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Eisenhower did during his administration, and what it was called and what he did would have gotten him impeached, like the second the paperwork hit his desk nowadays. But that put a big dent in illegals that were here.
Well, I mean, something else people need to wake up and understand too. I know we're kind of off the path here, kind of over the weeds, but think about, it's no longer people from Central America coming up. It's foreign entities coming up, Chinese, North Korean.
All the countries that expressly hate us.
So you probably Russian. So you've got people coming up who are from foreign powers. And the reason they're coming up that way is because the border is it's porous.
Yeah.
They easily can get across, especially if they've got an intelligence packet that's already lined up what they got to do.
Oh, yeah.
They just got to blend in. Now, these are going to be the son of bitches that come in and wreak havoc if anything ever goes off the rails in this country, because they're here for a reason. They're not here looking for a better life. They're here to stick it to you, to ruin your day-to-day activity. Does anybody here remember how it used to be before 9/11? Think about how much shit you gave up after 9/11 in the name of security and Homeland Security and the Patriot Act. We got fucked hard.
Oh, yeah, big time.
So just think about that. So
we did. We sacrificed. Yeah, we sacrificed
greater good.
Our or not we, but the politicians did.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anybody here with more than 30 IQ points knows exactly where I'm at. But yeah, I mean, it's just something else to look at. And like I said, like the title says, reparations, no deportation. They'll go out of their way to keep from deporting anybody. I mean, they basically would have to be radioactive and a registered Republican to get deported.
Oh, yeah. Well, so did you see there was an article today that Texas is finally trying to get law passed that would make it a state felony to be inside the country illegally?
I did see that, but here's my question about that. And since you may know more about it than I do. So if I'm Carlos Hernandez and I sneak across the Rio Grande, all right, Texas Rangers pick me up wherever. I'm illegal. ICE gets me. Okay, I'm being charged with a felony. What does that do? Does that put me in jail? Because if it puts me in jail, I've still got 3 hots and a cot, and I'm still on the taxpayer's tip.
Yep.
Now, don't get me wrong. It's great to be prosecuting them if that's what they're going to do, but I just don't see how that's going to be viable as an alternative or a resolution.
The only thing that I can think, well, there's a couple of things so if you are, okay, boom, you're caught, you're arrested, and charged with a felony. Bigger than that's bigger than what they're getting charged with now, which is nothing, because they catch them, they release them, and say, make sure you come back in 6 months for your trial or your, hang up before the judge.
Right.
So a felony, it's going to carry a little bit more weight to it. But the only way that I can see is that, and unfortunately, this doesn't fall to the states, or we, might have a better outcome, is if it was not catch and release, it was catch and send back. Or here's the better one. You really want to stop, Mexico from allowing all these folks to come up through Mexico and not stop them. It's okay. This is cool. Now, we caught you coming over. You weren't near a checkpoint or anything, especially, when they say, hey, you can come into a checkpoint and declare that you want to get asylum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're not near one of those. You catch them, basically you tag them, and you send them back over forcibly. That's the only way that it will work.
Yeah, but if you send them back over, what's going to keep them from just finding another way to get over?
Well, like you said, you're going to have to either build the wall, or you do what other, first world countries do, and you guard your border.
Right. I mean, I've always been a huge proponent of actually having a hard border per se.
Yeah.
And the hell with having all these military assets and whatnot scattered around the world in these countries that only want us there so they can fight the one world war they got, so they can turn around and take over everything and then hate us. Fuck them. Let them do their thing. Leave them alone. Bring our assets back here. I understand the military can operate within the borders, but the National Guard can't.
Exactly.
Give the National Guard, the governors, the ability to utilize the National Guard on the borders, and that's where they would do their training. I mean, you have basic training in the service, whatever. Then the first 6 months of your fucking duty, once you get through basic training, ought to be the border.
Yeah, you do a 6-month stint down there. You
Because I guarantee you, the coyotes and the cartel and everything else, they're not going to fuck with a bunch of Bradleys and Apaches.
No, and nothing says go away better than armor and bullets.
Yeah.
Even you don't even have to. 9 times out of 10, I bet you wouldn't even have to use them. It's just a show of force to say this is not a place to play around.
No, but you know there will be somebody to test that.
Oh yeah, always will.
International coverage, like people just trying to get here for a better life, and we're Nazis. We're doing this. We're just treating these people like dogs and not giving them a chance. And you know how it's going to be spun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And see, I'm just going to sound bad too. I said this during Desert Storm. How many of you remember? I think it was Desert Storm, or maybe it was the one after that. Do anybody remember when Geraldo Rivera was embedded with a unit?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
What happened?
I'm trying to. No, go ahead.
From what I recall, and it's been many years, he got on there reporting because Geraldo. He'll speak before he knows all the facts. He's good about doing that shit.
Oh, is this where he? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
In that mouth and violated OPSEC.
Yeah, he gave up positions, right?
I remember.
Or was that Blitzer?
He violated. No, it was him. He violated OPSEC, and they booted his ass right out of that embedding. Now, the reason I bring this up. Is back during World War II, back during the Korean War. Now, I know we're going way back in history here for a lot of people. The military went and fought a war. They fought a conflict. They went over there to win. You let the military do their fucking job. Okay? Politics wasn't an issue. Vietnam came around, and you had Jane Fonda and her communist ass. They all hung her. And you've got all this backlash. And from that point forward, you start letting the media kind of get in there and push a narrative on whatever they're covering. I'm kind of the opinion that maybe the media shouldn't have so much fucking free access as they do in a conflict. Because they are a hindrance to OPSEC and achieving a mission or a goal that's been set before you, because you got to worry about what they're filming or what they're doing. It's not about keeping you in line. I mean, any conflict when human life is at stake is never pretty. There's going to be bad shit that happens. That's why it's called fucking war. Okay? I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just being real. All right? So now you've got this element embedded with your unit that is reporting if you take a shit in the wrong place. Okay? How does that help your cause? It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
If you remove that drama from the theater of conflict, think how much smoother operations would be.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, when you lose, again, when we turned the military into a social experiment instead of the two things that it's supposed to do. Military has two functions. That's three: protect, blow stuff up, and kill people. That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's not pretty, it's not fun, but that's what it's there for.
That's what warfare is.
Yeah. And when you have all these, and unfortunately it's not like the Second World War where you actually had you had people there taking pictures, you had reporters, but generally they were also of the mindset of, this is the enemy over here.
Yeah.
And we're gonna catalog what's going on, but we're we're fighting something that's bigger than the individual here.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that sentiment no longer lives in journalism.
Well, journalism stopped being journalism, honestly, 30 years ago.
Ago. Yeah.
And as far as the military goes, I would say over the last 20 years, now I've never served, and I'm not trying to throw shade on anybody who has or is currently serving. Please do not take this as that. But from what I've seen, it looks to me like our military took a turn during Obama's Maximus.
Oh, the Great Divider. Yeah.
And it's done nothing but get worse.
Well, I mean, all you have to do really is look at, basically the debacle in Afghanistan. You
Yep.
fight a 20-year war, and then you know what? I don't want any boots. I don't want any boots on the ground, and you just royally screw it up. I mean, that's traitorous.
Yeah.
But look at the recruiting numbers now between fighting a 20-year war that we lost and basically having a big social experiment going on. Why would you, other than you can't get a job anywhere else, why would you want to join?
Well, I mean, I don't have an answer. I really don't. I mean, the only reason somebody would join the military now, I would think, is because they're trying to find a way to pay for school.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you have to have the outright patriots that go in.
Yeah, and again, I'm not throwing shade on nobody, but I mean, most of your patriots. I mean, there might be a few hardcores left in there, but I know when my grandson was getting out, everybody he knew when they were pushing this new agenda, everybody was trying to get the hell out. If their contract was coming up, they were signing papers.
Oh yeah,
get me the fuck out as fast as I can. And my grandson was one of those people who he had the calling. That's where he felt he needed to be. And he left because of this new woke ideology they were pushing through the ranks. He's I can't do it.
Yeah, it's that's tougher mentally on somebody who's in their full time. It's a bigger burden mentally than a lot of people understand, and then to have to try to guard your actions and your speech all the time, because anything that you say might be construed as hate speech or bigotry or whatever,
Right.
It's not worth it for what they get paid. It's not worth it.
Well, it's not worth putting your life on the line.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I've got nothing but the utmost respect for somebody who makes that sacrifice, serves their country, because that's what they want to do. That's great. That's awesome. But I just think, I'm sitting here looking at Patriot Nation, what he's saying, and he brings up a valid point. One of the conspiracies, and I don't know, this is just opinion. I'm not, again, but I've always kind of been in the mindset after, this is years and years and years later, now that I've matured a bit, not quite as reactionary as I once was. There was more at play on 9/11 and us going into Iraq and the Gulf War and everything else. There was more at play than what the American people knew. And I think there's a narrative being spun by the, I guess, the military industrial complex to a degree, because look at Halliburton, they made bank.
Oh yeah.
Now, Were there reasons why we need to be over there? Probably to protect interests and whatnot. I get that. Again, I wasn't there. I'm speculating. But I think there was a lot more going on than just, hey, we're going to stop this despot from doing X, Y, Z. Because I don't remember any quantities of WMD being found.
No, there were some, but yeah, you're right. There wasn't this huge stockpile of that we got to see anyway, or that we ever heard about. There was you didn't see them carting out
no
trainloads and trainloads of VX gas or anything like that. But I honestly think that this was a baby Bush wanting to finish what his daddy started.
Yeah, I'm of the same mindset.
Because and again, not being in the know, I'm not being CIA or FBI or any of the other organizations. When the majority of your people that are throwing planes into buildings are Saudis, why not go after Saudis? I know the answer, or I know an answer. You don't want to piss them off and cut off money and oil.
Well, here's the thing. We're beholden to the Middle East because we allowed ourselves to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't understand why we as a country just think it's cool to take an ass now every turn. When I know I'm going off another tangent here, but we love tangents. We love holes. So that's where we're going at. We're going a rabbit hole. When these countries that do commerce with us, like whether they're selling grain or they're selling, oil to us or whatever, we have enough oil here in reserves if we didn't have a bunch of shitbag politicians keeping us from utilizing it because they're manipulating things for their own end. If the Saudi prince comes to us and says, "Oh, OPEC oil went up $10 a barrel," what they charge us for fucking oil is what they'd be paying me for fucking wheat.
Right.
If they needed a Cadillac, that sumbitch would cost the same. Whatever commerce we did that they needed, and they were bending us over the barrel, I'd bend them over twice as hard.
Exactly.
Fucking time.
I mean, yeah. What do they export? Oil. That's it.
Tell them, say, look, you want to do this shit? Okay, that's cool, but you're going to try and set the price and hold everybody hostage? No, you're not, because you can't produce that damn Cadillac Escalade with armor plating. You can't produce those 10,000 fucking M16s with whatever. You can't produce those F-16s. Guess what? Those some bitches just quadrupled in price.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We'll be happy to supply them to you, but every time you go up on a fucking barrel of oil, that percentage is going to be tied into everything we export to you as a tariff.
But yeah, I kind of like the food for oil thing,
Yeah. I got that from my dad years ago when he was living. He was pissed off because of one of the oil embargoes or something, and we need to just start charging the same damn much for a bushel of fucking wheat. He was right. Oh, yeah.
We should have. Should have done to the Russians harder, because we were exporting to them too.
Yeah, but here's the thing: we don't have to be at war with Russia.
No, we don't.
We don't have to be at odds with Russia. We can be friends with them if we would stop playing games.
Oh yeah.
Because there's things we could learn from Russia, and there's things Russia could learn from us, and we could benefit from one another. And we're basically being played against each other. If you want to know the honest truth.
Oh, yeah.
I think Russia's being kind of, and this is not me being a sympathizer or anything either. I'm just saying this is just my perspective. I think that, China's kind of playing everything. Think about it. They're kind of like the puppet master. Think about what China's doing. We're going to supply you with this. We're going to supply you with that. We're going to take Taiwan. See, so they're going to keep us in a fight with Russia. And again, we shouldn't be over there. What's up, Highlander? Evening, Jenny. We shouldn't be sitting there in Ukraine to begin with. I've always said that.
No.
We have no business being there. Ukraine and Russia need to handle their own shit. If Ukraine ain't got a big enough set of balls, well, they shouldn't have gone in, shouldn't have poked the fucking bear.
Yeah, exactly. Don't poke the bear.
So, I get where Putin's coming from, even though I don't like him. I mean, if you had a country and you had all these other nations arrayed around you on multiple fronts, and they were all members of this organization that flat out didn't like you, how are you going to respond?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you're going to have your hackles up and be like, I'm about to stick my boot in somebody's ass.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, think about if it was the United States and Mexico was a hostile nation. The Canucks were, so you got both borders, and they're in an organization that is worldwide that is opposed to you.
Right.
How are you going to feel? I bet that damn border get damn real solid real quick, won't it?
Exactly. Both of them.
Have a line of fucking howitzers as far as you can see in surface-to-air missiles. Patriot Nation, you're right. We fucked ourselves because we import so much shit. We can't function if we can't get it because we've done away with manufacturing here. We've shot ourselves in the foot with textiles and everything else, electronics. I mean, you name it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Obama and Biden have both said it. Is that manufacturing's gone. Get used to it. It's not coming back.
Funny how when Orange Man Bab was here, it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Despite his mean tweets.
Right.
Just saying. So, but yeah, I mean, you're right, Patriot Nation. You might be able to find one, but you got to hunt for it. Most of your shit, if you're in most cases, none of it's made here. It might be assembled here.
Yeah.
I run into this problem a lot with tools because at one point I was trying to support American business, but the problem I run into, you can't hardly find anything made here. You might find it made in Mexico or Taiwan. And if you do find something made here, it's so exponentially high. If you got a damn adjustable wrench here that's made in, let's say, China, and it's $10, and you got this American made one here, or say it's made by Irwin or something, and it's fucking $35, you feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'm with you. I'd love to find shit made here in America and buy it if it was reasonable. I don't mind paying extra for American quality if it is quality, but I'm not going to pay damn 3 times the market for it.
Right.
I mean, who can fucking afford to do that? I don't ride around in a fucking Lamborghini and have a private jet.
Well, when you get your reparations check, you can.
Well, I need to be like that damn picture I sent you.
Yeah.
I'm just a dude playing a dude, pretending to be another dude.
Right. I'm just a dude playing a dude. I love that movie.
Man, I hated the movie, but that character was freaking priceless. Probably, I have to say, it's one of Robert Downey Jr.'s best.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Best portrayals he did. I mean, that shit was just funny.
And I still think to graduate the 12th grade, you should have to watch Blazing Saddles unedited. That way, everybody can get it out of their system. Everybody gets made fun of, and we laugh at it and we go on with our lives.
They're not going to do that because that's racist.
It's racist to everybody, though.
Yeah, but they're not going to say, man. That's like trying to tell everybody there's only two genders.
Oh, I know.
You're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm proud to say that we actually were able to stick to reparations and no deportations, and we went off in several rabbit holes and
Yeah, we did.
came out the other side unscathed.
Right.
I do appreciate Vanguard setting this up remotely for us, dude.
Yes,
Props
absolutely.
again. I know your schedule's hell, so thank you for that. And I hope we didn't bore everybody too much. Hope you at least got a chuckle out of it.
You're right.
All right, Sax man, you got any parting words for the crew here?
Oh man. Yeah, if you see something, say something so we can start deporting. And let's see. If you're sending out reparations check, hit me up on the side and I'll give you my address. Other than that, that's all I got, man.
All right. I guess in closing for me, as always, keep your head on a swivel, watch what's going on around you, pay attention to this whole banking shit that's going on, because I really have a bad feeling about it. I'm not trying to be a skies falling dude, but I think the Fed's downplaying it. So
Yeah,
pay attention.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be a slow fall,
So
or slower fall than some of the other ones.
Yeah, I've got to meet my financial advisor next week. I'm not looking forward to it. So, but yeah, pay attention, folks. Stay safe, and just don't get caught with your pants around the ankles, because that's what they want. Other than that, thank you all for being here. Enjoy your weekend. Try to do something with your family or loved ones and get this shit out of your system for a little bit. Take a break.
All right.
And we will see you on the flip side.
Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.